Good evening. We are continuing with the study of the foundations of Emunah as set forth in the Netivot Shalom. And this is the fifth part of these lessons. Now, before I begin this particular one, which begins on Mem Hey of this particular Sefer Aleph, the subsection Vav, I just want to put into context what we're going to be talking about. This particular part of the Netivot Shalom talks about the importance of Shema Yisroel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echud. And before we get into Netivot Shalom, I just want to share with you what I saw on the news this morning, where they're recapping everything that happened exactly a month ago on October 7th, the horrible massacre. And this particular segment was talking about some surviving children who were saved and were taken to a group that kind of tries to help their trauma by having them surf in the sea. And they interviewed one of these young children. I think my guess is he looked like he was probably 12 years old, 13 years old, somewhere in that area, from Kfar Aza. And they asked him to tell what happened the morning 1 month ago. So he tells the story of, that we've all heard many times now, of the sirens going off, the noises at 6:30 in the morning, the heavy rocket fire. Runs to the safe room with his mother and I think his mother and another brother, or maybe a sister, I've forgotten which. And they lock themselves in the safe room, and the husband realizes that this is an attack, so he leaves them in the safe room and goes and gets his weapons and goes to the armory so he can try to defend the kibbutz. And they're trying to be in contact with their father periodically. And all of a sudden they start hearing gunshots outside of their house, and people speaking Arabic. So they decided they better be quiet. And then then they hear somebody breaking into their house. And figure they're going to come into the safe room. So all they could do, there was kind of a box underneath the bed. And the three of them somehow squeezed into that box and said, "Don't make a sound." And somehow miraculously, they survived. The terrorists came into the room, shot everything up, somehow didn't see the box and didn't shoot into the box. So they asked them, they asked this little boy, "How did you survive all those hours in there?" He says, "I kept saying, Shema Yisroel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echud." So I must have said it 40 times a minute. Shema Yisroel, Shema Yisroel, Shema Yisroel. Shema Yisroel is the statement of our ultimate faith that Jews have said over the millennia as they're sacrificing their lives. What is it about Shema Yisroel that makes it such a special thing, that even a child hiding from the unmentionable terror has the presence of mind to say Shema Yisroel repeatedly? So with that introduction, let's see what the Netivot Shalom says. It says, L'or hadevorim ha'ela. And he's referring to the things we've learned already. A few of these things we've learned. B'kabalat mashmo b'yochedet, b'pasuk Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echud. You have to understand what is unique about this sentence. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Shema Yisroel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echud. Hashem Yisborach Hu Echud. Means God is one. Hamiyuchad, the only one. Amamsi Kol Hamatzios. Ba'achtus Muchletet B'chol Hanimtza. He is the reality of all the realities. He's responsible for all the realities. Unified at every place that you see. It's all the reality of Hashem being in charge. V'shamayim imal, in the heavens above. V'chol hazayin rakiyim, the seven firmaments of the heaven. V'asher baras mitachas, on the earth below the heaven. Ein od chutz mitziyoso, there is no other reality than God. Rak hu yisbarach be'achad hakol. He is the only one. Amachia, and he gives life, umehova hakol, and causes everything to exist. V'shum koach nifrad ein od milvado. No power in the world can separate and to make disappear the fact that there's nobody in this world besides God. Gam habriya hakula itachtat habarazat yachad. The whole world is united in this light of God. Anetzalim hanivraim hayetzurim ad hanasim, who saves the creations, things they created, and does everything. Amadaber, things that speak. Achai, living things. Hatzomeach, plants. Vad hadoma, even inanimate objects. All of these things have absolute unity and understanding that God is behind everything. Hashmayim, V'shmei Hashmayim, the heavens, Haaretz v'chol asher aleha, the earth and all that is upon it. Yamim v'chol tehomos, the seas and all the depths. Achayos shebehem achasi, the living creatures are all one in their recognition and the reality that they're only there because of Hashem. Chiyos habor yisrael, these are all living things that God created. Shatu machayas kulam, that God gives life to everything. Moshe Mihadomer, it's a parable, the Adam, a person, Asher nechlakim haimeru ramache vorim shtagidim. He has persons composed of 248 limbs, different bodily parts, vishagidim, and 365 sinews, veins, ligaments, etc. Oyad im chamesh atzboso, and he has a hand of 5 fingers. Al kol etzba b'nifrad. If he looks at one finger alone, so he's only looking at one finger alone. He'll think that they're all separate entities. If he looks at things with his intelligence, there's one complete being. From one complete being that nourishes his entire body. In other words, he's only concentrating on the finger, but he doesn't realize the finger is part of the entire phenomenon of a human body, the human brain, the things that make it run. Similarly, same with a Jew who believes in the oneness, the unity of God. He sees in every aspect of creation only God. God who is giving life to everything. And all the creation is one in terms of being created and being put into this world and being put into being by God. Even the bad part, the negative side, the seat uh, of the negativity of the klipa and the Yetzer Hora, the force that makes us do evil. Even that, kol chayosem v'nafshos hi mikoach nitzos elkim imal sheish b'tocha. Even the bad things are fueled by God. Kvod Isa b'sefer Chomer Tomer Devora, Moshe Cordovo, says in that book, Ari Timser should olam lo chata adam negdo shlo yehu ba'oso harega mamas shofea shefa kiyomo v'tenuas evora. Person doesn't commit any sin, any avera, doesn't do anything wrong, unless he allows his any part of his body to function independent of the rest, separating itself as it would, as it were, from the whole body. If a person sins with this power, sins with one of his limbs, he's not prevented. God gives us free choice. God suffers this avera that he's doing, this suffering that he's causing God, so that the person can continue functioning with the various parts of his body through his free choice. If a Jew puts into his heart, deep in his heart, this thought that everything is from Hashem, run by Hashem, there is no other. When he reaches that stage that he is able to nullify himself to the point where he understands that there is nothing besides Hashem. Umargish es atzmo ein ve'efes hamuchak. And he then, having come to that realization, feels that he himself is nothing. As Avraham Avinu says, "Ani offer of Afer, I am dust and ashes." Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Ma'ani, what am I?" When you have that realization, you put yourself out of the picture except as a total servant of God. And he then realized that he's just like a screw alone, b'toch marechet habriya kula, in the mechanism of the entire creation. He's one little screw. Shakol borach vodo, everything is created for his benefit. Kol yishus nifredet he etzlo, he gets rid of all his ego, bechinat avodat zara, all the things that cause him to serve idols, so to speak. And what are the idols that we serve? The modern day idols. We unfortunately have a lot of them. Some people it's money. Some people it's other. Some people may treat food as an avodah zarah. They eat too much; they become a glutton. Sexuality, all sorts of things are the common avodah zarahs. Not just bowing down to an idol. We idolize things. Sometimes we idolize people. Moshe Moras Habakodesh Bislonim, as he said, on the pasuk in Yitain. This is in Shira Shirim. It says, "In Yitain ish es kol hon beiso, Yahava boz yavozos lo." And that whole pasuk in Shira Shirim says, Helps be on the right page. It's in chapter 8. And it says, God is talking about Mayim Rabbi lo yuchlu lechabos es ahava. No amount of water can extinguish the love between God and Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel. It says, "Yite ish es kol hon beiso b'ahava Boz Yavazus low. It says if a person would offer all the treasures, would be offered all the treasures of his house to try to entice him away from the service of God and the belief in God, all the treasures that could be offered to him would not dampen his belief in God. And that's how strong you have to be. That's what refers to it in Shir in there, in that plus. If a person has the feeling that he is giving to God, he's thinking that I'm giving the treasures of my God of my house to Hashem. That will be a bazaar, a disgrace. A Jew has to feel that he is nothing compared to God. Shakol Shalom. You're not giving anything to God. Everything is God's already. This we find in the Maral says what Chazal say, and this is a key. B'shah she'otzias Rabbi Akiva laharigo zaman krishma hayav, and so on. Our sages say the time that the Romans took Rabbi Akiva out to kill him and were torturing him, and with his last breath, he said Shema. And he said, Omer Lehem, Akiva said to them, Kal Yemei Hayisi Mitztayer al Pasik Zeh. All my life, I was bothered by this sentence in Shema, B'chol nafshecha, to serve God with all your soul, all your life. Afilu no teles nishmascha, even if he takes your life. So Amarti, I kept saying to myself, Mosa yavo lidei v'akimenu v'chulu. When will I get to the point where I can fulfill that sentence? Echud, and Rabbi Akiva, as he was being killed, extended the time of saying the last word, Echud, until he died while saying that word. Yotze Baskol, a Baskol came from heaven. Vamran said, Ashrecha Rabbi Akiva, happy are you, Rabbi Akiva, that your soul left this world with the word Echad. Bakasha, and they asked the question, if he was upset and troubled all his life because he couldn't fulfill the command with all your life, which is another sentence in the first chapter of Shema. Why, if that's the case, he's looking to fulfill b'chol nafshecha, why does he take the word Echad, the last word of Shema Yisroel Shema Echad, and stretch that out so that he dies with that word? Well, maybe the Maral brings, there's no comparison of the love that a person has to God. Any other love between two people. Sheyesh b'lechol echad mehem. Every one of them has mitzios b'fnei atzmo, a reality in itself. There's two different parts of it. Two different parts of the love of one person for another. But the love of God, who possesses Sheshav Rucho v'Nafsho Elav Yisparach Lagamri. You're not dividing your attention. You are placing your spirit and your whole body in Hashem. Until there is no reality besides you. Your only reality is God. For this, Rabbi Akiva extended the word Echad, one, until his soul left the Shava El Kadosh Baruch Hu, Ein HaMuchlad, and he returned to God as completely free of any ego, as somebody who nullified himself completely to God. You can look in Gemara there and see it greater depth. The explanation is Chidush, Mesiras Nefesh Rabbi Akiva. This was the new thing that we learned from the Mesiras Nefesh, the willingness to do everything for God that Rabbi Akiva explained. That his soul went out with the word Echad. Mesiras Nefesh b'chol nafshecha harbe shezach l'kach. Mesiras Nefesh is giving up your life for God. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of people who have done that. Mesiras Nefesh, b'chol nafshecha harbe shezach l'kach. Haynu shelo bitlu kol hayishu shelahem lakadosh baruch hu. They going to their deaths, they haven't reached that point of nullifying themselves to God. But they just handed over whatever they have to God. Amnam, Madrega Rabbi Akiva, the level of Rabbi Akiva, was that his soul went out with the word Echad. Shabito Yishuso Klil LaKadosh Baruch Hu, where he nullified himself completely to God. At Shehargish Ki Ein Olamo Rak Hashem Echad. So he felt there's nothing in this world except the one God. And he didn't give anything of his own. V'yatza Batkol, and a heavenly voice came, V'amru Ashrech Rabbi Akiva, happy are you, Rabbi Akiva, Shiyatza Nishmascha Be'echad Daikon, that your soul left its body specifically with the word Echad. I am a pre-horitz perish. Shaharech Gam Kain Brian Kazeh. Yesh called Pam. Shaharech Gam Kain Brian Kazeh. This is the meaning of the word Echad. When you're saying Echad, it's not just the word one. Lord, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. The one carries with it the word Echad, carries with it the ultimate level of Emunah, that everything that happens in this world happens only from God. Whether you live, whether you die, whether it seems good, whether it seems bad, everything is from God, Echad. And the highest level of Emunah that one can reach is reaching that level of understanding. Ein od milvado. There is nothing, there is no reality in the world besides God. That is the true Emunah. Looking to God, not worrying because you trust that whatever God is doing is for your ultimate good, even though we don't understand it at the time. And that's the key. Shema Yisroel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echud. Remembering that no matter how powerful you may feel or not feel, you cannot lift a finger, slightest finger. Can't lift your pinky without the power of God. That is Emunah, Echud. God is one throughout the world, and there's nothing beside him. It's an important concept, and it was really brought home to me today personally, just listening to the story of this young kid saying Shema. And by the way, I have no idea what kind of level of religion he was or not. He certainly wasn't a boy with payas. He wasn't wearing a kippah when he was being interviewed. I don't know what he was. Didn't matter, because all Jews, and I heard it from a lot of the party goers that survived, talking about people saying Shema Yisroel. These are people dancing all night long, no matter what they're doing. They understood Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echud. And we have to take that Emunah into ourselves. And when we say Shema, think of these concepts, not just words. And that concludes this year of the Netivot Shalom. I'm going to stop the recording.
Yashikoah.